definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhauk beef jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Hi, I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century, and we're just getting started. Check us out at cantork.com. Our tools age better than I do.
It's happened again, and construction season is coming soon. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
For 50 years, the Selby Group has been building trusted homes and strong communities. This year, we're celebrating that milestone with special events and anniversary promotions you won't want to miss. Discover Hillshire by Selby Group, beautifully designed homes in a community built for the way you live today. And coming this spring, move-in ready spec homes will be available. Your new home is waiting. Celebrate 50 years of Selby Group at Hillshire. Visit selvygroup.com or stop by Hillshire today.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, the Oilers are on a run that could result in winning the Pacific Division. Plus, World Baseball Classic sees a classic marred by poor umpiring. Behold March Madness. NFL draft free agency means reworking contracts. And, are you ready for this? The NHL and all the greatest hockey players in the world are going to gather in Calgary, Prague, and Edmonton for the 2028 World Cup of Hockey. It was just announced. So there's lots going on. And welcome to the show. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's truck month featuring the best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. We're live on YouTube and Sports 1440 AM radio. Also iHeartRadio, sports1440.ca and Radio Player Canada. We're online after the show on a podcast basis with Apple and Spotify. We tweet it out on X as well. You can reach us anytime on Twitter at Lowetide. There's an E in the middle. Declan Krueger, there's a bunch of different letters in the middle. Jay Fenwick 04 and Mac McClellan as well. You can text us at 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. Going to be a rollicking good time. Our guests are Rachel Krychak coming up at 1240, and Jason Gregor will pop by at 1:20 today. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the introductions. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit angry about the World Baseball Classic umpiring last night. So that is our theme today. We're going to be talking about umpiring and calling strikes when they're strikes and calling the balls when they're balls. So I would trust her to be a credible umpire Although based on her tweets, she does seem to have issues with hockey players named McKinnon and Kachuk. A little salty sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mackenzie McLennan. Mackenzie, how are you?
I'm good. Honestly, I don't have many issues with McKinnon. It was just that one time. I do actually really respect him and like him as a player. But the Kachucks, I don't care about them.
Okay.
Hate
You
them.
are sitting in a new chair today. Are you doing new work?
Yeah.
What are
Josh
you doing?
is showing me the stream side of everything. So
Okay.
learning some new stuff.
All right. So he's really brilliant at it. So I think you've got a good person to observe and then do. And I never will say this again, but probably doing what he tells you to do is a good idea in this one instance. I would trust him to call balls and strikes correctly, but his love of theater would mean wild and inappropriate hand gestures when he calls strikes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick.
Oh, yeah. I'd be like Leslie Nielsen in The First Naked Gun. I'd be doing the moonwalk and strike, except they'd actually be right. About 92% of the time, which I know by technicality is bad.
You know, I don't know that you young people agree with me, but Leslie Nielsen in those shows was so damn funny. Oh,
so funny.
Oh, my God. Just an absolute howl. I would trust him to call the game straight up, but fear he would have issues with wearing the pedestrian and plain-looking clothing required to do the job. He'd spice it up somehow. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger.
It was good.
Yeah?
Craziest thing, I saw a robbery last night. Can you believe that?
Wow. Did somebody steal your bit?
It was, close. It was Timothy Chalamet at the Oscars.
Oh,
that was the robbery I witnessed.
Nicely done.
I wish I could have done a
Are
little
we
bit
going to talk
better.
about this now?
Well,
You
we don't
texted me
have
that,
to.
and
I think we could do it.
I forgot to respond.
Okay. Well, I think we can. What do you want to respond to?
No. He texted me last night and said they robbed my boy.
They're giving him the Leo treatment. They are.
Hey, man, when you're that great, they're like, oh, yeah, he'll be nominated a bunch of times and he'll win a bunch of times.
I don't mind you guys talking about this, but the next time Declan gives me the death stare because we're not talking about sports, I may bring this up.
The only other thing I'll say is Declan absolutely whipped my ass in our ballots for the Oscars.
Right. Let me express how surprised I am. Brad Pitt doesn't animate films, and you probably nominated them there.
No.
Right.
I got the animated feature right. I was more Sinners heavy, and Declan was more One Battle After Another heavy, and One Battle After Another One Out.
I don't trust the Academy anymore. After 1994, and they just walked all over. Like, I understand if you don't want to make Shawshank the winner, make Pulp Fiction the winner. And then what was the other one that didn't win because of what's his dude walking around?
Brokeback Mountain didn't win.
Now, Brokeback Mountain losing to Crash was the biggest travesty.
That's really bad. And then also Goodfellas lost to Dances with Wolves,
Yeah.
which is bad.
If he comes tomorrow, I will call him Two Socks. All right, let's talk sports. Ladies and gentlemen, the Edmonton Oilers are in a little bit of a rule. They need to be. Here's the deal. They are close enough to the top of the Pacific Division that we can dream on it. But that said, some of the teams in the division, like San Jose and LA, they've got some pretty easy games coming up. Their schedules aren't as difficult as the Oilers. Now, the Oilers games are spread apart really nicely. This San Jose game coming up is really big. Now, the other thing is Leon Draisaitl may be out for a while. Doesn't sound like it's totally serious, but it is serious when you're playing any NHL games and you don't have Leon Draisaitl. Last night, I want to give flowers to the following people. Connor Ingram, who is playing in one of the toughest places to play goal in the National Hockey League or the world. I mean, maybe, there are other places, somewhere in Siberia, it might be difficult. I'm not sure. But Edmonton's a tough place to play. Connor Ingram is doing it. God bless him, because the Edmonton Oilers need that. I felt Matt Savoy had a great game on the top line. I don't know if he's going to stay there. Nuge may have to move down to center because of Leon Draisaitl's injury, but I'd like to keep him there. And then the other thing is, when come playoff time, Leon's fine, and he's running with Podkolzin and Kapanen, and McDavid is running, say, with Savoy and Hyman. They featured a line last night that absolutely was fan-damn-tastic. It truly was. Here's the line. I'm going to give you the numbers first. They played 833 together, 4-0 shots. They didn't give up any shots. 59% expected goal share, 4-1 high dangers. The line is Dickinson, Nuge, Roslovic. Now, there's no absolute furious 6'10" guy who, doesn't brush his teeth. They don't have that guy on that line, but they've got skill and they've got two-way ability, and they shone like diamonds last night. I'm so impressed. I'm actually excited about that line, and I hope that we see it, someday soon again. I know the coach kind of likes to put the blender in, but for me, and I know he might have to because of Leon's injury, but for me, that was damn exciting. All right. Let's go around the room. We'll begin with Declan. Your thoughts on the game and the weekend, and the fact that the Oilers seem to be on a roll, plus the Leon Draisaitl injury.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh my goodness!
Did you not turn your mic on?
Yeah.
Oh
absolute,
wow.
like beyond
Little
a
rusty.
rookie mistake.
I'll call rusty.
My goodness. You know what else? I was going to get on you for not retweeting the show tweet, but I forgot to tweet it. So you want to talk about how rusty I am coming into this weekend? My goodness.
Well, we're a team, man.
Holy goodness.
Yeah, I'm tweeting it now.
Yeah. So the 4-game roadie, you get 5 points there. That is successful. Like if you had told them going into that roadie, they would have got 5 points. You would have been like, yeah, St. Louis, Vegas wins and 1 point against Colorado or Dallas. Didn't quite work out that way, but you got 5 points. That's successful. Marred a little bit by how the Dallas game went. Like you're 0-3 against that team this year. What was it? 8-3 loss and a 7-2 loss. Like those are tough hills to overcome. Nashville is just such a team. They beat up for fun. Alex Daughtry, who we've actually had on the show, very nice guy, good beat reporter for the Preds, had one of the worst takes I've ever seen, that the Oilers shouldn't have gone after Ozzy for his hit on Leon or something like that. Like just one of the absolute most brain dead, soft as baby bum.
I actually
takes I've ever
loved
heard
the
in my life.
reaction. I thought the reaction was very appropriate.
I couldn't agree more. Listen, that is such a game you win for fun. It's not even a game you really can break down. You want to obviously put wins together at this point in the season for if you're the Edmonton Oilers, make a push for the top of the Pacific Division. But like as a whole, did anyone think they were going to lose that game?
No.
Like not a chance, right? Not a chance. So it is what it is. They got the 2 points. That's what it's about. Now it's on to the next one.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Josh.
Yeah. No, hey, shout out to that Nuge line. That's very impressive. And yeah, Matt Savoy was, I think, really good. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum on the shows, how good he's been since the Olympic break. And last night playing with Connor McDavid, who he played with a couple times at the beginning of the season, and it looked totally different. He hung around. He got the first star of the game yesterday. So all things considered, very impressed. And also shout out to Chris Knobloch for actually naming a starter.
Well, and about damn time, but if he hadn't named that starter, there might have been riots.
Oh yeah.
Did you see the graphic?
Busier today.
Did you see the graphic the Oilers put out today?
I did not.
It's Connor Ingram's last 5 starts, his numbers, the Oilers win rate when they have a goalie with above 900 save percentage. It's so funny because it's like very clearly to me, very transparently, a Tristan Jarry hit piece where they're like, yeah, hey, forget about how bad that trade was. Look at how well we've done with Connor Ingram. It's the way it's phrased is hilarious by the team.
Yeah. She was at the game last night.
Okay, well, let's hear your opinion on that, Mackenzie.
Yeah, I was at the game. Picked up a Leon Draisaitl bobblehead, which I'm very excited about. Really good, honestly. I love the response after the Draisaitl hit. I will say the power play is a little bit rough without Draisaitl. It seems they're always looking for him. And Podkolzin, he just isn't Leon Draisaitl, so shooting from that spot near the goal line, it isn't his bread and butter like it is Leon's.
Right.
But I also loved that third line. And Ingram,
fantastic.
He came up huge in the times that they needed him to. And also, they didn't give up a ton of high danger, which I really loved.
If you go to The Athletic today, I've written about the things we've learned since the deadline. And one of them is that they're giving up fewer high danger chances. Another is that Connor Ingram is playing really well, especially since the deadline. So it's good news all around for the Edmonton Oilers and their fans. And hopefully it's a sign of things to come. They've got to make hay, baby, because that is a very, very difficult division in terms of opposition having an easier sked. All right. I want to get to this because it's really a big deal. Edmonton, Calgary, and Prague. I'm sorry for being a little surprised by that. It just felt like a little unusual. Are the 2028 World Cup of Hockey hosts just announced by the National Hockey League? And so, I mean, look, my friend Paul Almeida has been to Prague many times. He says it's a gorgeous, lovely city. I love Edmonton. And I think Calgary is a gorgeous, lovely city. I totally get that. But does anybody feel that they've chosen these cities because people will attend? There's a little bit of hockey madness, and we tend to, at least in Edmonton, I don't know about Calgary, we tend to host events and treat them like they have to be successful so everybody gets behind it? Or do you think this was just, hey, we can do this, and it'll be, we can't get the time in Madison Square Garden or whatever?
Well, I actually have a question. How does this work? So
come on,
one
they
side
just
is
announced it.
No, I know, but like one side is in Prague, one side is in Calgary, then the semifinals and finals are just in Edmonton. Like, doesn't that seem a little?
No, that's what they're doing. Yeah. Like some of the games at the World Baseball that were over in
there was some in
Asia.
Tokyo and stuff. Yeah. So
okay,
it's the round robin games are in Prague and Calgary, plus one, like the qualifier or whatever, the quarterfinal. So each city gets Prague and Calgary each get 7 games, and then Edmonton gets the 2 semifinal games in the final,
which is cool.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think Edmonton will come out with about as much money as both Calgary and Prague will.
And the other thing is, and I'm just being honest here, the 2 lesser cities get the earlier games, and then the major city gets the finals, semifinals.
All right. Listen, Declan's the geography guy here, not me. However, I'd be willing to say that Prague is a lot bigger of a city than Edmonton.
I didn't say bigger. I'm just saying, more, cool.
I would still say Prague is probably ahead.
What about you? Are you thrilled for this? The bobblehead dry saddle woman?
Yeah, I'm pumped. I love that Edmonton and Calgary are getting these events, because Edmonton has the World Juniors coming up, hosted the bubble for the COVID year. So I think when Kate said Ice District is going to be like this event hub, this is what everybody wanted it to be.
Yeah, the NHL did promise a draft or an all-star game, and this might be part of that, and it is, it's, I've been down there. You guys have too. It's a pretty cool area. There's great hotels, there's great restaurants. When Josh is there, it's not as good, but mostly it's a really good time down there. So be able to show off Edmonton at an interesting time of year. And I think it's a good thing for, what are you doing?
It's not as good because it's way greater.
we all have our opinions, sir. So we'll go with that.
For those of you who have never been to Calgary in February, they have these nice things called Chinooks.
Oh yeah, they're very nice. What do they still have the Red Mile or whatever it was called in Calgary? Do they?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm just old. There used to be a place, there was an area where there was a bunch of bars in a row.
Oh, yeah. So they have Stephen Ave. So that's downtown. And then they also have the Kensington neighborhood, which is mucho nice. So that's very Pinteresty looking. However, I used to go drinking there every night when I was working as a bartender. A little place called Red Rock Grill. It was great.
I guess with the mucho niso, we know who to go to understand Spanish.
Gracias.
Okay, listen, we're all talking and it's wonderful, but we have to take a break after Declan tells us his brief opinion of March Madness and how it went down with the selection.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, so we're going to do a special edition of Declan CAA today, bracket reaction. Immediate quick thoughts. The East is very deep. St. Louis a touch overseeded. St. John's a touch underseeded. And very, very happy Miami of Ohio got in.
There you go. I wasn't prepared for the brevity, sir.
Well, I can keep going. I figured, we got to take a break and all that.
I'm going to take.
Hey, don't say no, by the way.
But I'm going to take 45 seconds to just talk a little bit about the World Baseball Classic game last night. USA against the Dominican Republic. It was a classic. It's an all-time classic. I've watched a lot of baseball in the last 50 years, and I can tell you that was brilliant. It was marred by 2 calls, one on Soto and one on Perdomo, that were clearly not strikes. And the umpire had done an incredible job through that. And then both of them had major impact on the game. And when you take that moment, it's like in the finals when the Florida Panthers are getting away with everything and other teams haven't all year. When you say, oh, we're not going to call that, you actually are putting your finger on the result. And as great a game as that was, it was one of the best games I've ever seen. I will never think of it as an all-time classic like Carlton Fisk hitting the home run for the Bo Sox in 1975 or El Presidente, El Perfecto, because I can't, because they were clearly calls that were incorrect. And to prove it, if you go listen to American media today, they're all calling it out. It was a bad moment for baseball because of a bad play, a bad call by an umpire. Now they're going to have a chance to review it, I'm sure, next time. But it's like the Calgary Flames not winning the Stanley Cup in 2004. It doesn't make any difference. Or was it 2004? It doesn't make any difference. The puck went in the net. They didn't have the review until they all got back and played again. But they didn't get the Stanley Cup. That is a big damn deal. People cheer for reasons, and when you do something like that, it changes the way we view the game. And that happened last night, and I'm still pissed off about it. All right, it's 12:17, busy day. On the way, rumors. We have Rachel Krychak from Betalytics coming up at 12:40, Jason Gregor at 1:20. Our dear friend Declan will have declinations, and he's going to drill down on the NCAA March Madness today at 1:40. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going...
And Weisblatt's away. He's sending it in. Schaefer forechecking in front of Barron, and that was played ahead for McDavid. Backus off goal. McDavid saves. Savoy. 2-0 Edmonton. Savoy hits 11th. He's been around. Squirted to the corner. McDavid on to Bouchard. Still 45 seconds on the man advantage. McDavid gets around McKay. Cross center. Draisaitl shoots and scores. Draisaitl from McDavid. Edmonton 1-0 on the power play for Leon Draisaitl. That's his 28th goal in the last 20 against the Preds. Strong. 5 to shoot. Shabazz Scott for the lead. Nothing but net for the hometown kid. Akron up by 3. Leiden lost it. Parks to tie. Oh! And Akron, it's a three-peat. The dynasty for the Zips as Shabazz Scott sends Akron dancing. On the
more surgeries over 3 years. It also means hiring more teachers and building or renovating more than 160 schools, all while keeping taxes low and growing the economy. Budget 2026, focused on what matters. Visit alberta.ca/budget. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Open your mind to saving up to 25% on select tires at Fountain Tire. Okay. Visualize mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires. I see it. And now, $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Amazing. But how do you do this in a sidecar? It's surprisingly spacious. Offer ends April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Do you have the time to listen?
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Thanks for joining us. Oh, it's so nice to have spring. So good, you know? I mean, sure, it was a little cool on the weekend, but we returned. Carius, I was on with him earlier today, and he was telling me that people send him messages on the text line enraged that I called spring in mid-February. And my point is, that's why I did it. Because you have to be famous for something, and making people angry about weather is all. The other thing you can do is food takes. Travis Yost does that brilliantly, but people get really upset about weather. I know Josh does. Holy mackerel. All right, it is time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in your solar and yourself. GreatCanadianSolar.com. Okay, couple of things. No word on Leon's return. He wasn't, skating today. It looks like he has a lower body injury. Okay. And if you saw the play, then you know that apparently it's not going to be out for the playoffs. They need to win games. But Draisaitl is such an important player. We're going to talk to Rachel and to Jason about what he means to this team. He's a big center in the middle. And I remember when Glenn Sather drafted Jason Arnott, the idea was that they were going to get somebody like Messier who could play in the middle and, play destructo, and here Arnott never did that. Well, he did a little bit, but he never got going before they traded him for Guerin. But, when they got Leon Draisaitl, they got it again. I remember Mac T being so happy when he got Draisaitl. He was thrilled. He was giddy. And why not? And we've seen that Mac T knew what he was talking about with Leon Draisaitl. And hopefully he's not out long, and he will have major impact. Another big story today. It does involve Edmonton. The NHL has announced the 2028 World Cup of Hockey they announced it in Palm Beach, Florida, and then they announced the cities, which do not resemble Palm Beach, Florida. They are Prague, Calgary, Edmonton. And so this is going to be interesting. I think that it's a great idea. I like the timing of it, but it'll be interesting, as Declan asked earlier, what's it going to look like? What are how do they play in Prague and then, Calgary? And then is it like several days later? When do they get together at Edmonton for the semifinals and the finals? Well, that'll all be explained as time goes on, and we'll worry about it when we worry about it. The Oilers missed Ryan Nugent-Hopkins the other night, and Matt Savoy moved up to the top line, and he looks really good, and he was there again last night, scored a goal on a nice dish, and it's important. And here, I'm just going to talk a little bit about online last week. There was oodles. I'm going to say oodles, and I mean exactly that. Oodles of the following. Boy, that was a stupid trade. Ryan McLeod for Matt Savoy. And I read that, and I went, okay, well, let's review. The Oilers haven't, necessarily replaced McLeod at third line center consistently, it was Henrique and now it's Dickinson. They're still looking for help. But whenever you can trade a third line center for a first or second line right wing, I think you have to at least consider it. And in the case of Savoy, we know now that the scouts got it right. He has a complete game. He's not a huge guy, but he's not terribly small like Kailer Yamamoto. He can skate like the wind, and he has ridiculous skills, and he thinks the game at a high level. So when you see online, nothing the Oilers ever do is right online. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've been writing about this team since 2003. A lot of times, going negative is the right call. However, it is important if you're going to be fair to give credit where it's due. And right now, I think Matt Savoy on a value contract, replacing some older legs with young legs on a high skill line is exactly what the Edmonton Oilers should have done and did do. And I can't wait to see Savoy's career roll out here because I think he's a brilliant young player. I know you're going to talk about it, Declan, but I want to just ask you a couple of specific questions about the March Madness if you're able to turn your microphone on. Okay.
Of course.
So
I like that reminder because I didn't get it last time.
Well, it's Monday. When we talk about the football and who's going to play for the championship, there was a lot of brouhaha about how it was worked out. And on Friday when we talked about it, and during last week when we talked about it, you were worried about whether or not some teams were going to get in. Mm-hmm. Did they get it right with the teams that they elected to include in March Madness this year?
Yeah, I think Seton Hall probably had an argument to be one of those first 4 teams, Oklahoma as well. But those teams getting in means 31-1 Miami of Ohio missed it. And I think despite all the metrics, like Miami of Ohio, they weren't a great team. They were 94th in KenPom. For reference, Notre Dame, who was 13-18, were 89th. They had a lot of things working against them, but they played 32 games. They won 31 of them. They beat Akron, who I like Akron to win their 12-5 matchup in the first round of the tournament. So I was happy to see them get in. There wasn't a glaring omission where you point to that team and say they should have been in, no questions asked about it. Like a lot of people wanted Auburn in because they went at Florida and the quad 1 games they had played. But no, I think the committee got it right in terms of teams they got in. But quite bluntly, with 68 teams, you should, obviously there are auto bids, but with 68 teams, you should get the right teams in.
Right.
So
the odds are you're going to do pretty well. And if you do miss one, it's well down the list, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, we're arguing Indiana, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Auburn, Miami of Ohio, Texas. As it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't explain that well, but I didn't want people to stop listening. So.
None of us really knew what you were talking about to begin with. So this is all good. I'm teasing. Actually, you know what? I will give you credit. You have made college football and college basketball far more interesting to me than when I first met you.
Well, good. That's what it's about.
You have real passion for it.
That is what it's about.
All right. We know that in the world of NFL football, the cutting edge of innovation is the New York Jets. And they have decided to trade quarterback Justin Fields to Kansas City. Now, I'm going to tell you how I feel, and then we're going to get you two, maybe Josh and Declan, to talk about this if you would. When I hear the Chiefs acquiring a player from the Jets, I think fleecing. Am I wrong?
Sorry, say that again.
When I hear the Chiefs acquiring any player from the Jets, I think the Chiefs have fleeced the Jets.
See, my thing is I think people have a tendency to think that because of the success they've had, and that, that obviously comes from the back of Patrick Mahomes. Listen, it's probably safe to bet against the Jets, but I just think some people look at Kansas City as being a far more proactive organization than they are because of the success they've had. They haven't, since the departure of Tyreek Hill, they haven't really put a whole lot of weapons around Patrick Mahomes, and eventually it came back to hurt them. Now, they did build a defense, which was an address need. They didn't really ever address their running back situation until this year, and to be fair, it was a little bit more fluid. I'm not going to sit here and carry water for the Jets and say they made out like bandits, because the Jets never do, because they're the Jets. But I do think, like I said, people have a bit of a tendency to overestimate front office moves of the Chiefs because of the organization they are.
Yeah, that's fair. What about you?
Hey, my fault.
No, all good. He was traded for a 7th round pick.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
All in all, solid enough move for the Chiefs. I mean, the last 7th round pick I can think of that was solid was Brock Purdy.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
It's not bad. Yeah. It's not bad in the slightest. But this is low risk, high reward for the Chiefs. If they can find something in Justin Fields, something that Patrick Mahomes can teach him, whatever, then it's good. But I think we're at the point in Justin Fields' career where we sort of know what he is.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? We thought we knew what Sam Darnold was.
Yeah.
And we were wrong. And the Jets do not have a good history with quarterbacks.
Yeah. What about a team that would draft a quarterback number 1 overall and then not play? Okay, I'm just teasing.
We don't need to have this debate again.
So the thing with that is,
Mackenzie, you are an Eagles fan. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Were you as delighted as I was as an Eagles fan to discover that the Eagles have, in fact, re-signed a tight end, Dallas Goedert?
Yes, I'm very happy about that because it was a topic of discussion for us last week. I was a little surprised that it was only a year, but with tight ends, it can be so up and down. So I'm just glad he's back, and hopefully he can have another season like last year. I don't think it'll be as explosive, but consistent, hopefully.
No, for me, the tight ends, Quick wasn't a tight end, I don't think, but he was a bigger guy. And Charlie Young, when I was a kid, who was a tight end for the Eagles. And then, of course, Zach Ertz. I just feel like Goddard is like, he's the perfect player for that team. They have great wideouts now that they don't throw to enough. But for me, I thought bringing back Goddard was a great idea. Josh, let me come back and ask you about tight ends because Mackenzie mentioned that it's 1 year, and she also mentioned that tight ends are, they get beat up. They don't walk when they're 50. So does he have another good year in him? I know that
I'm sure Dallas Goedert's got another good year in him.
All right.
Dallas Goedert, he's one of those upper echelon tight ends in the league, not like peak of the mountain with a guy like what Mark Andrews used to be or Travis Kelce used to be or what George Kittle is when healthy. But he's that solid, like A grade below the fact of like, this is a reliable target that you can use as a safety blanket if you need to throw a slant or he's going to get across the middle of the field and he'll get you something because he has a big body and he's got good hands.
Dallas the Farmer says Lowetide just caught the last inning of the ball game. That strike 3 call was maybe the worst call I've ever seen. Was the umpire American? How much betting was riding on that game? I don't know. Watching the game, I watch, and I admit I was cheering for the Dominican Republic because they're like, how many people live in the Dominican Republic? 70, and they all play baseball. So it was an underdog story, which anybody can buy in. And if the Americans win fair and square, Mason Miller's throwing heat. Good Lord, man. But the bottom line here is that you have to win it fair and square. And I really felt like all of us were robbed of a great sporting event because of that. And it's damn disappointing. And I'm still not pleased about it. There's nothing we can do, but where is I had another one. Oh yeah. Spinner from Edmonton North. LT Bettman is no dummy. He continues to reward Edmonton with hockey events because it generates massive revenue for the NHL. Very true. The idea that Calgary and Edmonton can carry this thing shouldn't be a surprise, or Prague, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. But I feel like, there are other destinations they could have chosen. Like it's ironic to me that they announced this from, Palm Beach, Florida, which, just so you know, a lot of the National Hockey League, spends time in. But I think this is a partly a revenue generator. And also, I do think that the National Hockey League did promise Daryl Cates some events over time. And it was listed as All-Star Game or Draft, and this may or may not be a part of it, but I think it's worth mentioning. All right, it's at 12:35. Jason Gregor will join us at 1:20 today. I want to talk to him about Leon Draisaitl, what the Edmonton Oilers is going to do, and a little bit of a role here. I'll ask him about the schedule and other schedules, including LA and San Jose in the division. Going to be a fun conversation with Jason at 1:20. 1:40, we'll have declinations and a little bit of more talk of March Madness and who we expect to win. I'm cheering for Gonzaga, and we'll see how that goes. On the way, though, Rachel Krychak from Betalytics, and we're going to talk about the Oilers. We're going to talk about the NHL player safety and what they're doing right and wrong, and the wrong column is a lot larger, and we'll talk a little bit about the days to come in the National Hockey League. Are very exciting, as it turns out, playoff race in both conferences. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
When it comes to sports in Edmonton, Jason Krueger is a must listen. He brings you the inside scoop with guests from across North America. If it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first. Krueger rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports 1440.
Hey Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z, promomarketing.ca.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 12:39. This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check it out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Joined now by Rachel Krychak from Betalytics. Rachel, how are you?
I'm doing well, Lowetide. How are you?
Good. 2028 World Cup of Hockey. Are you heading to Edmonton, Calgary, or Europe?
If I had my choice, it would be Europe. Just because I can go anywhere in Canada whenever I feel, but going to Prague feels like it'd be kind of fun again.
I've not been, but my friend Paul has been many times, and he loves the city. Have you been?
Yes, it is absolutely beautiful. I will say it's gotten a little bit more expensive now that it's become a little bit more popular and well known among the traveling types. So it's not as cheap, but when you compare it to places like Switzerland, France, England, you can still get a very good deal. And it's the architecture is absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend it.
No, that's what I've heard. All right, let's talk Oilers. They're playing better. They seem to have more structure without the puck. Is there a tweak you've noticed, or is it just better coverage and the goaltending has been upgraded a little bit?
I it's not so much a tweak. It's yes, the goaltending has been better, but I also think the addition of Connor Murphy and Jason Dickinson, they've really stabilized their sort of on ice production, so to speak. With Connor Murphy, I mean, the guy's a shot blocking machine. He gets in lanes. He's been really good on the penalty kill. And he's just making it very difficult. There's not a lot of, what I've noticed is there's not a lot of time and space out there when he's out there. He's doing a really good job of closing off lanes, closing off the play in transition. And so by that, the Oilers aren't giving up as much offensively, and it's a lot easier to be a better goaltender and to put up better numbers when you're not being asked to save things like you're playing 3-on-3 hockey in July most of the time. And so I think that's been part of it, and Connor Murphy's been a huge part of that. I also think Jason Dickinson's been pretty good too. And then you're also getting, I've noticed some more commitment to defense as a whole. Vasily Podkolzin has been really good, dogged on pucks, pressuring within the defensive zone. Matthew Savoy, same thing. They're using their speed and their hockey sense to force the opposing team into making poor decisions, and that is also interrupting the offense. And so I think it's just a little bit more commitment to defense, and the additions have fit in really nicely and stabilized the Oilers when they're on the ice, which the Oilers have needed.
So Matt Savoy has done well on the McDavid line. He moved up for reasons, Nuge, and then he's kind of stayed there. Got a goal last night, plays a complete game. Do you think that it's an option, or at least should be considered, replacing Nuge on the top line with McDavid full time? Is it time to maybe infuse some youth onto that McDavid line?
Yeah, I think we're actually past that point. I think that now we have a proof of concept that a younger player can stick there and can play reliably well. And now with Draisaitl being out, I think this is like an opportunity where you sort of need Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to play on his own line. You can't load up one line if Draisaitl is going to be out for any length of time. And so when they're healthy, having McDavid, Draisaitl, and then Nugent-Hopkins on the third line would be tremendous. I think that gives them a nice balance and depth. It makes them significantly more difficult to defend. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at that point will be playing a much lesser quality of competition. And he's still a very reliable defensive player. He's very cerebral, he's a guy that can still play tough minutes, but then yet now he's not going to be expected to produce at the level that he would be if McDavid was his center. And so I think leaving Matthew Savoy there provides a more balanced lineup for the Oilers. And that is something that they should strive for if they're heading into the playoffs here in what is a comedically weak Pacific Division.
It is kind of comical. Leon being hurt I'll miss him. I know that Oiler fans are just ridiculously spoiled, but I think it is a good time to reflect on how unique he is as a player. And then there's also the playoff Draisaitl, which is another gear. And I've always wondered, it does get talked about at times. Is in your opinion, Draisaitl McDavid's equal in the playoffs or better, or does it just sometimes look like that?
I think he's certainly his equal. It's very difficult to ignore the production, especially when scoring is the most difficult thing to do in the playoffs because teams are far more committed to defense. Guys will put their face in front of pucks. Like there's some genuinely insane behavior from a human perspective that goes on in the playoffs. And the fact that, I want to say it's 4 or 5 years ago now, like Draisaitl put up almost 2 points per game in the playoffs on an ankle that was basically pipe cleaners and duct tape. It's genuinely incredible. Now, he gets lesser competition because every single team deploys their best against McDavid. But the lesser competition, once you get to the end of the playoffs, is really not that different between your top pair and your second pair. Like those teams are very deep. And so I look at this and I go, his ability to continually provide offense and not just like empty calorie offense. Either these are tying goals, these are game winning goals, or points on those particular goals. These are points in games 5, 6, and 7. These are critical points for the Edmonton Oilers. And so I look at this and I go, like, what a luxury to have such a two-headed monster. And I think you need to do everything you can to ensure that he is well rested / healthy for the playoffs. If you don't need him to get in and to retain your spot, best to keep him at bay as long as possible, because a healthy Draisaitl in the playoffs has proven to be pretty much unstoppable.
A little bit of pushback from some quarters about the reaction when Leon took the hit. The teammates jumped right in. I have no quarrel with that. I do think that the league gets to a point where everybody jumps in on just a major hit. But from the point of view of the Oilers, Leon Draisaitl is a specific special player. And I have no quarrel with his line mates jumping in. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, given the city I'm from and the direct opposite happening when their player got basically chopped down, and nothing was done about it, like to the point where it was genuinely embarrassing. Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are the two players on the Edmonton Oilers where if you breathe incorrectly in their direction, you should have to pay a consequence. And if that means the Oilers are killing a penalty, then the Oilers are killing a penalty. Now, in the playoffs, the refs are they're not likely to call those because you get away with a lot more in the playoffs than you do in the regular season. And I mean, we've talked about that on this show. And so I look at that and I go, I have no problem. Leon Draisaitl was hurt on that play. And even though it wasn't a particularly dirty hit, if you hurt a star player of Leon Draisaitl's caliber, you should have to answer for that. And so I commend the Oilers for standing up the way they did and for some of the hits that were laid as the game went on and just how they handled themselves. You don't have to go over the line, but you also can't do nothing about it. Otherwise, you're going to be in situations where teams think that they can take runs at your players without consequence, or two, you're going to have McDavid and Draisaitl feeling like they have to stand up for themselves. And you don't want to be in a situation where that happens, because the last time McDavid got in an actual fight, he broke his hand. And that was when in the OHL, in his final, in his draft year. And yeah, he had that spat with in the Dallas Stars game. But under no circumstances do you want his gloves or Draisaitl's gloves coming off because they feel like they have to defend themselves. And so I really admire the Edmonton Oilers. I thought that was the correct response. It didn't cross the line, but it sent enough of a message that said, hey, if you're going to come after him, there's a price to pay for that.
Yeah, that's fair. Rachel Krychak from Betalytics, our guest at 12:48, Lowdown with Lowetide. Radko Gudas, I mean, I've watched his whole career. He's filthy. I love him as a player, but he is over the line. Chews glass for fun. He just is a really tough, bad guy. And that hit on Matthews was ridiculous. And then the suspension was as ridiculous. And Connor McDavid said it. He said maybe this has to be reviewed. And I think that's a great point. Does player safety need an overhaul or the rule to be restructured a little bit? That play on Austin Matthews is not a hockey play.
I mean, how much time do we have? Because I could sit and do an hour with you on all of the things that I would change about how player safety operates. Number one, I think it's ridiculous that the NHL Players Association is allowed to represent both the injured player and the offending player. I think that the process there needs to be changed because, quite frankly, I mean, if you're the NHL, if you're any NHL team, you're picking Austin Matthews over Radko Gudas, and it's not particularly close. One guy makes a boatload of money for the league, and the other guy barely belongs in it, and you can even ask Duck fans that. Number two, what I would say is this. The reason Radko Gudas hasn't been suspended in a number of years isn't because he doesn't play over the line. It's because he plays for teams that nobody pays attention to. Nobody is going to sit here and tell me for a single second that if Radko Gudas played for the Toronto Maple Leafs or for the Edmonton Oilers or for any team that gets any level of publicity, that he wouldn't have been suspended probably once a season at least for something dumb that he's done. So I think we need to look at the process. And I think McDavid's absolutely right. If every single time there is a suspension or a non-suspension and no one's happy with it, chances are your process is garbage, right? And so I think you have to look at this and go, number one, if there is an injury to this level, the suspension needs to sort of match that, especially if you've already determined that it was a suspendable play with maliciousness involved. I think immediately the minimum bar needs to be 5 at that point. And I remember when Brendan Shanahan was in charge of the Department of Player Safety, and he started out handing out suspensions, and owners didn't like having to pay for players to be suspended. Well, how do you think the Toronto Maple Leafs feel about having Austin Matthews injured? I can guarantee you they hate it a lot more than Anaheim hates paying Radko Gudas for 5 games to be suspended. So, I mean, I don't get that response. And quite frankly, if you don't like paying guys to be suspended, don't hire guys who are liabilities to be suspended. Like, it's really not that difficult. And at the end of the day, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, Austin Matthews, these guys are the NHL's meal ticket. And TNT last night in the United States was running promos with Austin Matthews involved in them, and he's out for the rest of the year. Like, it's a bad look all the way around. And then you have a guy who was a certified goon with no other purpose in his career running this department. I do think it's ridiculous. I don't think we need to go to the Paul Kariya route, but having somebody like Brendan Shanahan, who is good enough to be a Hockey Hall of Famer, but also played tough as nails, was the right balance. And if you don't like getting suspended, stop doing things that get you suspended.
You mentioned the Leafs, and I saw them against Buffalo on the weekend, and they seemed to they sort of showed up in a ornery mood. But where was that on the Matthews play? And is this going to result in the Dan Maloney return of a very fierce and aggressive, borderline dirty players wearing Toronto Maple Leafs uniforms? Because the reaction from the fan base has to be just unbelievable after the Matthews play.
I mean, I'm somewhat surprised the Anaheim Ducks didn't require a police escort out of Scotiabank Arena, because that was the level of irate that the Leafs fan base was. And I mean, rightfully so. It wasn't like the Crosby at the Olympics one where, I mean, yeah, he injures the guy and he's clearly going at him with a level of aggression that is probably unnecessary, but it wasn't a dirty hit where he was trying to pick Crosby's knee. This was a very clear instance of him straight up getting beat and deciding he's going to take out another player's knee. That is absolutely unacceptable. And the Leafs have been, for the last decade, paper soft when it comes to responding to hits. And the last player that they had on their team that did any level of response was Nazem Kadri, and he was traded because he was suspended 2 playoff series in a row for standing up for a teammate. And quite frankly, if you were to ask Leaf fans if they would like a mulligan on that, they would absolutely say yes, because it is better to have a guy who is at least willing to go to bat for his teammates than guys who are just like, nope, I'm going to put my arm up and hope that they call a penalty and do absolutely nothing outside of that.
Yeah, it was not a good look. I wanted to ask this because I'm just kind of looking at the list now, and I'm not saying the free agent list for July 1 is dull, but I don't know if we can plan a 6-hour show on July 1st because everybody keeps signing their damn players, Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, this is a product of the cap going up the way that it is, and you have the opportunity to keep your players if you're judicious about how you're using your cap. I really hope James Duthie is planning llamas and alpacas and Ottawa Senators, Prime Minister races, and mascot, you name it, because it feels like we're not getting much of anything on July 1st. I actually think that we're probably more likely to get trades the week of the draft, and they may want to do some kind of second trade center around the draft because there's probably going to be some movement. But yeah, part of the cap going up exponentially the way that it is over the next few years is that teams are going to be able to retain their players. And that's great news if you have star players and you want to be able to retain them. But it's not great news for player movement. And for God's sake, stop handing out trade protection to players that aren't in like the top. If you're not in the top 20 at your position in the league, like you shouldn't have any like a full no move clause. Like I get it, if you're a first line player, you're a superstar, by all means you give that guy no move clause and fine, you can go on your merry way. There is legitimately no defensible reason to be giving third and fourth line players and third pairing defensemen any level of trade protection whatsoever. And especially with the cap going up, the reason you give trade protection out is so that you can take the AAV down. Well, you don't need to do that anymore. So you could just tell them to kick rocks and not give out that trade protection. And hopefully we get some player movement out of that, because I agree with you. I think that the free agency is going to be boring, and probably the most entertaining things that happen in that sort of time frame before every GM goes on vacation on July the 4th is some level of trade.
Thanks for this. Appreciate it, Rachel. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Sounds good, Lowetide.
There you go, Rachel Krychak. Always look forward to those conversations, and I really enjoyed the one about NHL, the area about NHL player safety, and I think that they were talking about it today at the GM meetings, and I think there is going to be an appetite here. The NHL is awful at protecting its stars. And it's like they sold their soul to Eddie Shore, and everybody's got to be tough because, Bobby Orr's career was 10 years and, you're being, you're changing the game somehow. You can still be physical, and they charge like crazy. They used to call charging. They don't anymore. But knee on knee, we know, is a filthy play. And there's got to be something about it. That play and the suspension that followed it is really unforgivable. It makes the league look bad, and I'm glad they do, because they need to straighten that out. And the NHL player safety, the NHLPA representing both the victim and the aggressor is farce, and I think we all know that. Okay, coming up, Jason Gregor in hour number 2 at 1:20. We're going to talk about the Oilers and the World Cup of Hockey and a little NFL and March Madness too. March Madness will be the subject of declinations at 1:40 with Declan Krueger. It is 12:57. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors, Inc. Floors done right for home or businesses. Visit the new showroom, 11577 149th Street, open 6 days a week, Saturday hours from 10 to 2. And you can visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring that next flooring project to life. World Cup of Hockey will be coming to Edmonton in 2028, as well as Prague and Calgary, those two hosting the round-robin games and one elimination game, each Edmonton hosting the semifinals and final. Oilers news, Leon Draisaitl not on the ice at practice today after leaving last night's game with injury, and the New York Jets are trading Justin Fields to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 7th-round pick. One other piece of NFL news, Darius Slay announcing his retirement after 13 seasons. Alabama star Aiden Holloway has been arrested on a felony drug charge 4 days before his team is set to play in the NCAA tournament. The team's second leading scorer has been charged with first-degree possession of marijuana and failure to affix a tax stamp. Excuse me. 5 games today in the NHL: Calgary and Detroit, Boston and New Jersey, and Los Angeles and New York. The Rangers, that is, all at 5. Utah and Dallas at 6. And the late game sees Pittsburgh in Colorado. In the NBA, Orlando and Atlanta and Golden State, Washington kicking off the action at 5 o'clock. The late game will see Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs in LA to take on the Clippers. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sense. Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z, promomarketing.ca.
For many families, the stress of divorce can throw your life out of balance. The loss of a relationship, ongoing conflict, mounting legal bills, and uncertainty about the future can feel overwhelming. Hi, I'm Corey Anderson with Fairway Divorce Solutions. At Fairway, our team helps you restore balance through mediation, negotiation, and a unique step-by-step process. With 2 offices in Edmonton dedicated to serving your needs, our goal is simple: to help you navigate a path back to peace and clarity. Visit us today at Fairway Divorce.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payments. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
I am not a baby anymore. I am not as innocent as before. I see it in the mirror.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
I didn't.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month, featuring their best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. Preseason baseball's on. Hockey playoff chase on. Basketball going strong. NFL making moves every day. The Jets fumbling, bumbling, tumbling. And March Madness is on the way. They've made their choices. And who, if you had to pick 2 teams to make it to the final, who would they be, Declan?
Well, actually, can Mac and Josh give their answers first? I'm kind of curious what theirs are.
Oh, sure. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Go ahead, guys. It's come on now.
Okay,
It's
sorry.
live radio.
I'm sorry. I was watching Josh do this stuff. So what was the question?
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
No, you know what?
see, it's a 2-hour show.
I've been there.
It was a 2-hour show, and this is the first time that Mackenzie has not listened to the show.
Lowetide asked me which 2 teams I think
I
are
blame
gonna meet
Josh.
in the national championship, and I said I wanted to hear what you guys said first.
Okay.
I wanted to react to it.
Fair enough. Okay, mine, not very educated. This is completely on a whim and the very limited basketball knowledge that I have. Gonzaga, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. And Miami of Ohio. Because
mine-
Declan's talked about them a ton, and I'm super high on them now.
Not a possible final matchup, but I love where
You know
your head
what?
is at. I love where your head's at. I do.
I had a feeling that was going to be the case.
I want Guam and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I think those are my choices.
Yeah, no, okay. So to answer the question, not that that was a bad answer or anything, because but I think we're really looking at Duke, although the East is so strong. 16 Final Fours between 6 coaches in that region, 7 national championships. 1 through 5 in that region. St. John's won the Big East. They're the 5th ranked seed in that region. So it's going to be tough for Duke, but I just think they have the guy who's playing the best in the country right now in Cam Boozer. It's a well-coached team. They obviously have a rich history of winning. I like them, and I think Arizona's probably been the most consistent team all year, even though I don't always love the way they play. I think early first eyes on it, I like Duke and Arizona.
That's fun.
Duke is
I do like Duke. I do like Duke.
Why do they have to be so good all the time?
That being said, my own fandom's coming into play here. Go blue.
Well, Duke's blue.
No.
Okay.
You know which blue I'm talking about.
Tar
the
Heels?
Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, they're a good show, man.
There you go.
They're a good show.
Michigan Wolverines. That
Does everybody on the Michigan Wolverines team know about the timeout situation?
probably not.
Okay. You'd hate to lose another one.
Oh well.
Who was on that team? Jalen Rose, Chris Webber.
We're talking about the Fab
Jimmy
Five
King,
right now.
Juwan Howard, Ray Jackson.
God, I remember watching those guys. They were so good.
It sucks they didn't win it.
Yeah, it is.
They should have
No, they
like obviously they weren't the best team that year, but they should have won just for the culture and the pop culture attachment afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would have been even more in the lexicon if they had won.
I mean, they were fun to watch all year. College basketball, if you don't watch college basketball, man, watch it, because you're going to know about Shaquille O'Neal, the next Shaquille O'Neal, about, I don't know, 3 years before everybody else. I guess it's less now. But you see these incredible talents, and you're just like slack-jawed watching them. And then they end up in the NBA, and you can watch them forever. But college basketball is so good because mistakes happen, and that's a good thing. Love it. I just love it. Afternoon low tide. Won't Calgary have a new barn by the time they host the 2028 World Hockey Championship? I don't think so. When's the new barn coming up, Josh?
2027.
Okay. All right. And that's a prefab arena, right? Like they're building it. They have trucks coming out from Arizona, and they're going to put it together like just with nails.
No, actually, a good follow on Twitter is Ryan Pike at Flames Nation.
He's a great
He's a really smart guy. Did he write? So you wrote the Edmonton Oilers on the clock, their draft history, and he wrote the Flames on the clock draft history.
Yes,
I didn't. Is that a whole series of books that someone like wrote like for every? Okay,
not every team, but like Detroit, Edmonton, Calgary, all the important teams.
Cool. Yeah. So, but he's a great follow on Twitter because I would say once every couple weeks he will post like an update of what's going on, because Flames Nation is very like the Flames and Flames Nation seem to be relatively closely involved with each other, and they obviously, like, Ryan Pike has a press pass and stuff like that, so they give them updates so that they can keep everyone informed of what's going on. So 2027, I'd say by the summer, like basically almost all the outside is done. They got to put the roof on still, but I'd say through this summer and next winter the innards will be done, and 2027 is when it's supposed to open.
And is it down by the river where it could flood again?
No. So I mean, I guess actually yes, it is, because I think it's about 4 blocks away or something from where the dome is currently. Which 4 blocks is an exaggeration. It is a little farther away, but like it's still in that same general vicinity.
Well, I remember the big hubbub about, I mean, they lost, 6 Lanny McDonald spittoons in the last flood, and everybody was upset about it.
Yeah, rightfully so. History ruined.
Put some sandbags up, boys.
Come on now. The river gets so high in Calgary.
All I know is that, that old barn in Edmonton never leaked.
You literally can't take it down right now. It costs like $36 million to take down. It's just going to sit there forever. It's going to outlive me. It's going to outlive my kids.
I saw lots of hockey games there, and I saw Tina Turner open up for Lionel Richie in 1984. She blew the doors off that arena. When she stopped playing, there was like a 25,000 people awe. It was like we were just shocked by how the energy was. And Lionel Richie took 90 minutes to come on the stage. 90, because everybody was so excited by Tina Turner's concert. It's like, how the bloody blue blazes do I follow that?
I saw a lot of Edmonton Rush games at
yeah. I love lacrosse. I so wish it was here. It sucks.
You know where it is? Calgary. Anyways, back to what I was doing, teaching Mac.
So good. So good. Let's not talk about the timeout. It still hurts these years later. I always seem to remember that, like I remember that, like the Pisani had a chance to score in the third period. People get mad at me, the Jelena goal went in. People get mad at me about that, but that's sports. You have to, like, There was a Game 7 play late in the third period where Connor McDavid deflected the puck in the high slot and it almost hit the net and it didn't go in. That's why you watch sports. And I know it sucks, but when you do win, it'll make it that much better. It's true. You know, you have to suffer. I sound like an old man. You have to suffer before you can really enjoy what it's about as a sports fan. I mean, the Eagles championship, the first one, I'd been a fan since like 72 or 74. Long time coming. And it did feel good. Leave C. Webb alone. It's been over 30 years. I can still see the look on his face, the just crushed look on his face. It was really too bad, man. That sucked. And that's why I keep reliving it with you.
It's honestly crazy to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, a 5-time All-Star, a Hall of Famer, and that is still what you're known for. A mistake in a game your sophomore season.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we understand why, but still.
No, it's not fair. It's like Billy Bucks, getting crapped on by fans because the ball went through his legs in 1986 when he was playing first base. The problem was McNamara needed to replace him with Dave Stapleton at first base. Everybody knew it. We still know it. And that was 1986, which, by the way, is like 42 years ago. I'm still mad about last night's game and the referee, the umpire. Come on. Let these guys play it straight, play it fair and square. It would mean so much more if the United States got to the final on merit. And I don't think you can say that today. Highly, highly agitating, in my opinion. Hey, Tide, best show on radio. Well, thank you, Darren from Stettler. My favorite Gudis moment was when Darnell fed him proper. Darren and Stettler. Yeah, but, I think he got suspended for that. And everybody's like, but I mean, that was like that sort of aggression is part of the National Hockey League. And I was shocked when Toronto did nothing. Like, I don't expect, Nylander to go over there or whatever, but somebody's you need to like full on tackle the guy. Don't let him get to the bench or the penalty box. That was brutal. No bumper music on YouTube. Why is that, Josh?
Copyright purposes.
Okay. Well, it's good that people know that, right?
Yeah. This was a tough thing to explain to them. I think the first month we were on, we were doing this all. And so I'm glad that it's sort of reeled back. But yes, we can't play music on YouTube due to copyright purposes.
What if I wrote a song that was an original song?
Then we could absolutely play that. Would I want to? No.
Okay,
we could.
I could. I've got an accordion in the back.
Oh, that's okay, Weird Al. I think we're good. I think we'll all be just fine without it.
The Weird Al part fits. All right. In case you didn't know, there's a lot of things going on. Leon didn't skate today. We're going to talk to Gregor here in 2 Shakes of a Lamb's Tail, find out what's going on. Looks like it, based on rumor and innuendo, maybe a couple of weeks, something like that. The Oilers play San Jose. They need these games. I mean, they could still win the division, but you want to do it in fine style, right? And hopefully that's exactly what's going to happen. So we'll see. Stulo says, if someone did that to McDavid, I would expect a vicious slash or equally dirty play. It's the only way you can deter these dirty players from hurting stars. Thoughts? Well, and he's my favorite player of all time because of it. But Mark Messier, he didn't worry about retribution. He initiated. He would in preseason. He got suspended for it. I don't remember the name of the defenseman, McCown. I don't remember. They're in a scrum. He's behind the defenseman, and he punches him in the back of the head. And look, kids out there, I'm not suggesting that you should play violently, but it does let people know that you might be a little bit dangerous. That does work, and Toronto needs some of that. Seriously, right now. Okay, 1:15. Jason Gregor on the way. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers the Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Edmonton sports fans, stay informed with Sports 1440. Stream us. Listen to us on the AM dial. However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Jason's in.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhardt, and Montembeau. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check it out, wolfgmcbuick.com. We welcome to the studio, very well-dressed, dapper Jason Krueger. How are you, sir?
Well, thanks, Al. I'm good, buddy.
Yeah? You enjoying the springtime out there?
Yeah. Well, it's got to come eventually, doesn't it?
Maybe. Everybody wants to know about Leon Draisaitl and the injury. The word on the street is a couple of weeks, and it's not something that's going to keep him out of the playoffs.
No, I don't think it's that long term, but whether it's a knee or a hip pointer, I'm not sure, but he's definitely not good. I don't expect him to play it into this homestand and then kind of go from there. And it's an opportunity for some other guys. The Dickinson, Roslovic, Nugent Hopkins line will probably emerge as the second line due to the fact that Dickinson scored 22 goals a few years ago. Roslovic scored 22 twice, 3 goals shy of 20. Nugent Hopkins, 3 goals shy of 20 for the 7th time. And so, you got 3 guys in your 20 goal scorers. You should be able to chip in some offense. Szymanski's going to play with Podkolzin and Kapanen, so they should be able to contribute. But I think, when you don't have Draisaitl, McDavid just becomes even more of the focus.
Yeah.
I think, they're going to miss Draisaitl on the power play. Now, I'll say this. If Podkolzin was able to raise the puck there, he had a goal.
Yeah.
He just didn't get it high enough, right? He can one-time the puck. He would want it to be a little higher. And that's the difference between a 50-goal scorer and a 20-goal scorer.
Yeah.
The 50-goal scorer puts it up under the bar in that situation. So I think their power play could struggle a bit without Draisaitl. I know he scored the power play goal, and then he left the game, and they didn't score afterwards. But Matt Savoy has really shown a lot of jump. His ability to think at high speed, play at high speed, make deft passes at high speed. I had a really good conversation with Connor just off the mic after the scrum today to ask him about, what I see in Celebrini and what I see in Savoy and the similarities and just how dogged they are in the puck, good forecheckers. But you watch the little touch plays that Savoy makes to get the puck to McDavid in speed, which is what you want. And then look at Savoy's goal. His speed is the only reason they score.
Yeah.
If you look at where the play started, McDavid's well ahead. McDavid slows down because Savoy's quicker than the two back checkers and they can't catch him. And then he has a wide open play. So I think this might be the fastest guy McDavid's played with.
Yeah, and it for me, it's an indication that the investment they made in youth and in the summertime, we were talking about Savoy and Ike Howard. Turns out it's Savoy and Szymanski who have emerged, and maybe we shouldn't be surprised. Szymanski's 23, got a little more pro experience, and Savoy certainly that year in the AHL benefited him. But these are young players, young legs, faster legs, who are kind of replacing the Perrys and the folks who were here a year ago, and we'll see how it goes in the playoffs. They need to get experience, but I think they're a little more difficult to play against with that kind of speed.
Well, they are for sure, and the Oilers are using their speed, right? Like, look at the biggest change I've noticed. I know everybody talked about, okay, they packed the house a little bit more in their defensive zone. Sure. It's all, to me, the biggest improvement has been their backtracking and back checking lately. Look at McDavid. He had 3 great ones last game. Matt Savoy, Podkolzin, Kapanen. Like, they got lots of guys. Rosovic can really skate. Dickinson can move. Henrik's probably their slowest skater, and he's older, and that's fine. But the Oilers have a lot of speed, and they're using it. More guys are committed to doing the small things, and that's why in Ingram's last 4 starts, they've only allowed 9 goals. And now, obviously, Jari did play a factor in that because he played the third period and the end of the second in that one Colorado game that they won. But, Ingram has given them solid goaltending. Now, the team's played better. Like, you could have put Ingram in Dallas, and the way the team was playing, they're losing that game.
Yeah.
So, but I think you could run Ingram the whole homestand here if they wanted to. And then, maybe you give one of the 2 starts next week. But realistically, you don't really have to. Like, look at goalie can play every second day. I talked to Connor about it. He's like, yeah, man, like, you want to play. He's well rested. He's not fatigued.
No.
Right? He can play Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 2 days off, and then play the next Tuesday. It's not a problem.
What I'm looking at the standings, and the Oilers are, they're within spitting distance of the division lead. Teams like San Jose and LA have pretty easy schedules. I don't know that LA is going to be a factor. They seem like they seem tired. What are your thoughts on catching Vegas, catching Anaheim, and maybe holding the pack off, because there's a pack of wolves headed, hopefully in their case for the playoffs?
Well, the Oilers 15 games left. They have the most games left against those teams, right? They play San Jose twice. They play Vegas twice. They play Seattle. They play LA. They play Anaheim. They play them 7 times. Some of those other teams only play 2 to 4 times against each other. So that's an advantage. Now, Edmonton has, on paper, a little bit tougher of a schedule because of, who they play. 11 of their final 15 games are against teams either in the playoffs or like San Jose and LA just outside the playoffs, right? So it is, in theory, a little bit harder than that, but they also control it. They also have 9 home games and only 5 on the road. So that's a big advantage. And you got to take advantage of it. No question. Like, this is a homestand. You got San Jose coming tomorrow. It's their last game of a 5-game road trip that's taken them all over, right? They're kind of coming home. They're maybe a little fatigued. And then you got Florida, who's just playing out the string. Like, they left a lot of their guys at home. Yeah. Sam Reinhart's not on the trip. They're banged up. And you're the Edmonton Oilers, and I know that Florida's out of the playoffs, but don't tell me that the Oilers core is not going to be fired up for that game on Thursday.
No, that's
right?
fair.
And then you got Tampa Bay, who always is a tough out. And they've been struggling oddly enough, 3-7 in their last 10. So you got to find a way to extend their pain a little bit. But I think this is a huge homestand for the Oilers. If you can, because you got Vegas twice and then you got Anaheim. But you've got to stay close. So next week, it's next Thursday and Friday that they play Vegas and then Saturday against the Ducks. And those are massive games. Yeah. Massive. Like those are the games that you got to win.
Well, and they picked up 3 points in the last 10 on Vegas. And in the NHL, that's a lot. Like that's a lot of standings points that you've been able to do in 10 because of the Vetman point.
Buffalo gained 12 points on Tampa in 10 games.
My God.
Like think about that. Incredible. First place, you gain 12 points on them. And that's why, like, you look at the playoff race, you never know. Now, that's only you're chasing one team. And the difference for some of these teams coming from behind is you got to pass multiple teams. But like, look at, and I got an article coming out of Oilers Nation that really breaks it down, all the schedules of all the teams and everybody. And in the East and the West, like, it's phenomenal. There's 20 teams now battling for 16 playoff spots, right? And there's Minnesota's pretty much locked into number 3 in their division, right? Like, I know they're 6 back at Dallas, but they have a game in hand. I don't see them catching them.
Right.
And then I have Carolina, who's locked into first place in the Metro, but they're only 2 points up on Buffalo for first in the conference. So that does mean something.
Yeah.
So you've really only got one spot here out of 15 that's locked in. We know that Buffalo and Tampa and Colorado and Dallas are all making the playoffs, but even Montreal's 2 points out of Tampa, but they're only 3 points out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's awesome. And same with the Oilers. Like the Oilers got to keep winning. They needed that game last night and they got it.
You and I have talked about this, but no surprise, but I want to refocus on it just from the listener point of view. The Oilers miss Ty Emberson, and I think that's worth mentioning. You know, like this is a guy who maybe is viewed sometimes as a fringe guy, but he's not. He can play.
Ty Emberson really, I think, quietly improved a lot this year. If you look at the small areas of his game, his passing's improved, moves the puck better. It's probably just experience. But I was watching closely the difference between him and Stastny, and I know Stastny's playing his offside.
Sure.
But even when Stastny got on his forehand in some plays where I'm just like, oof, geez. He is, and even, a lot of times Wallman's playing the right side.
Yeah.
Because like there's a step below Stastny in physicality from Emberson. Even last night, like Stastny a few times, just his puck moving. It's not there to the same level of Emberson. And so, Emerson's not even practicing with the team yet. So he ain't going to play on the homestand. So that's a subtle injury that I hope gets rectified sooner than later, because I think they miss him. There's nothing wrong with a really solid third pair defenseman. That's what Emerson has become this year.
Scored a couple of times on the weekend in one game. Is Regula the logical call-up if they were need somebody from Bakersfield on defense? Yeah.
Like if Edmonton had the cap space, I'd call him up right now because he's a right shot.
Right.
Then you could play Wallman on the left side. So, hey, it's funny because I sent a note down and they think Regula is really starting to play pretty well here.
Yeah.
But guess what? Shocking, because he's actually played hockey now for 3 weeks a month straight. Yeah. So, no, I think this is great for Regula. And you know what? The Oilers might be really lucky that he got through waivers like a young defenseman, and next year he comes in and they're like, oh, geez, now we got some more depth on the back end, which is what you need.
Yeah, you have 8 or 9 every year you have to have. So looking forward, we've got the schedule, and the NHL announced the World Cup of Hockey in 2028. They're going to be the Prague and Calgary for the early times, and then it's semifinals and finals here in Edmonton. That's pretty exciting. It's a little ways away. Calgary will have a new barn by then, but it'll be pretty exciting for Edmonton and for Alberta.
Oh yeah. The only thing that could be less exciting now was the press conference that I had to sit through today. Oh my God. Like the amount of backpacking, patting on the back and that government. I was like, oh my God, how does anybody cover that stuff? It's terrible. It's like 20 minutes of nothing. I'm like, I'm out. But and I get all the logistics. You know what? There's lots of hotel rooms. There's lots of people that are going to come in, and that's going to be great, right? Calgary and Edmonton. Calgary gets 7 games because they get the prelim games, right? So I'm assuming Canada is going to be in that division, right? But I am interested if the U.S. is in the other division.
Yeah, good point.
And I only because if you put Canada and the U.S. in the same division,
won't be a final.
Then, they still could make the final. But it would be because I think
they split up, right?
It might be a crossover afterwards.
Right. Okay.
But there's a big advantage to be the number 1 seed, because how it's going to work is, so you got 8 teams. So they haven't announced who the 8 teams. We can all guess 5 for sure: Canada, U.S., Sweden, Finland, and Czechia. Czechia is in. They're in Prague. Obviously, they'll be in it. But after that, the other 3 nations, I don't know. Is the war going to be going on? Hopefully not. So then maybe Russia's involved. more so the war is that when I say hopefully not, it's so the war ends, not that Russia plays.
No,
hockey.
I
just want people to understand my priorities there for a second in case somebody misheard that. And then after that, I'm curious who the other nations are going to be. Are we going to have one nation that involves Germany and Slovakia and Norway and Denmark, or like a European? Because I can understand it, because this is an NHL event. And I know they said they want the top 8 countries. So, but who's 8 then? Is it Switzerland? Is it Germany? Because neither one of those have enough NHL players. Right. So how do you fill out your roster? Because then you're going to need those other leagues to agree to let their players leave their league. And I know the players will want to do it because they want to play against the best. Don't get me wrong. But you're still going to have to convince them to adjust their schedule, because I don't think those teams are going to want to let some of their best players go and then he'll still have league games at the same time.
Yeah. No,
right? Now, European sports is used to having breaks in a season.
Yeah.
So it maybe won't be that hard of a sell. But that to me is the interesting one, is who gets in it. Because I just can't see the NHL not having Germany, because you got Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, he's a big star.
Yeah.
Right?
He's just like, he's one of your top 3-4 players in the NHL. Yeah. So I think you'd want him in. Obviously you want Pasternak in. There's other guys, Slovakia's got some good players. So I'm kind of fascinated to see how they fill out the rest of the teams.
James from the Hood asked this, will Howard get called up this season?
I don't see why. You know what? If the Oilers get in a position where they've secured home ice advantage or a playoff spot, and there's 2 games left, and they play Colorado, I think, on the 13th, and then they have a game on the 16th, like, you could do it, but keep in mind, the Oilers don't have a cap space.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you could send Max Jones down at that point, but, to bring somebody up, so they have room to do that for sure. But I don't know if, like, does him coming up to play 1 game late in the year, what does that mean? Like, look at the Oilers' top 9 when healthy.
Yeah.
He doesn't fit in. No. He's not beating out Savoy.
And he's hit a wall a little bit.
Totally has, man. Like, this is the most games he's ever played, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather see him grind it out in the American League. Like, I don't see any reason to call him.
No, and it's the same. All those guys, Quinn Hudson, they've all hit a wall. Mm-hmm. And all the AHL guys like Hamblin and Griffith are carrying the...
Because they know how to... Because they played through it. But it is... The AHL is way harder than people think, right? And, like, even Marjal, has, hit a little bit of a dip. And, I think Regula's in a different boat because he hasn't played all year. So he's just like, this is unreal. I'm feeling fresh as a daisy. I'm playing 20 minutes a night. And that's good because defensive depth at the in the playoffs is massive. So I think it's awesome for Regula. And I do say, if the Emberson injury extends here another few weeks, now the problem is, now if they get to game 6 or 7, then you could put him on LTIR retroactive, and then you could recall Emberson. But I'm not sure they're there yet.
Did you get a chance to watch the baseball on the weekend, the U.S. and Dominican Republic?
Yeah, I didn't love the final strikeout. I'm not sure. Like, is it going to change the game if he pitches one more pitch? We'll never know. But I enjoyed it. Like, Italy, which I know there's lots of American Italians on the team, but still, right? Like, they're playing very well, and we'll see who wins. But it's a good tournament. Yeah. I have no issues with it. Like, people get fired up about it. I saw some of the interesting. They talk about how, in baseball, they're bringing in some guy to talk about the war and killing people. But then in the other ones, they're Italians are having lattes and they're relaxing. Like, it's kind of different what you're using to fire up the people. That was a pretty funny post.
Yeah, no, there's been some really clever stuff out there. What's coming up on the show?
Woodley will be by. I think Sean Brown is back today for us. We'll obviously talk about the Oilers. A conversation I had with Connor McDavid about Matt Savoy, and also Jason Dickinson. Really good insight from Dickinson, well-spoken guy, just about, what he's noticed as a difference for the Oilers to get back on track, which, and we've talked about this for once. I'm like, it's not like they did change their system a little bit in their own zone. They packed the house a bit.
Right.
But the biggest change has been just their attention to detail and willingness to do the little things that help you win defensively.
Yeah.
Backtracking, back-checking, right? Winning battles on the boards. Like, look at how many more battles Trent Frederick has won right now. Like, Trent Frederick looks like a completely, like, Trent Frederick looks like the player, Al, that we saw in Boston.
It totally.
Right? It's night and day how different he looks. And, Savoy has been excellent with his speed. Szymanski's come in, I think has been fine. Podkolzin's consistent. But overall, I think just their team, like last night, Connor McDavid had 3 outstanding defensive plays.
Yeah.
And when your best player does it, everybody trickles down. And you're starting to see the Oilers are getting into playoff mode now. To me, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, and they're nasty to play against when they're playing well, and their attention to detail.
Yeah, losing Draisaitl, make no mistake.
No, it's big deal.
Like that's going to hurt. Like the Tampa Bay game is probably where it'll hurt the most because they have a lot of skill. San Jose has like one team.
Yeah.
San Jose, when Celebrini's on the ice, is a very different team than when he's not on the ice,
Yeah,
right? And Florida right now, they'll come in. They got no Barkov. They got no Reinhardt. I can't even remember who else isn't on the trip, but they got a few guys missing. Yeah. But I'm kind of curious about that game, and I'm curious just because there's been a lot of mouthing off, like, does somebody on the Oilers take a run at Tkachuk? I sure hope.
Well, it would please the fan base.
Yeah. Well, it should please them too.
All right, Jason. Thanks.
Thanks, Al.
All right, Jason Krueger coming up at 2:00 today. Going over last night's game, and it was so eventful. He talked about Savoy, also Leon Draisaitl's injury, and I think Connor Ingram in net. They're playing well, but he's also, I think, getting comfortable, and I think Tristan Jarry needs a bit of a reset, and with the time off between games, have an opportunity to do that. So it's everything's coming up Millhouse a little bit here for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll see how it goes moving forward. All right, it's 1:36. Declinations on the way. March Madness. They've got the teams. They've got it all set. We're going to go through that and more straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our #1 selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
The Price is Right Live is at the Brick. Come on down to any Brick location for your chance to win over $300,000 in prizes. They're giving away shopping sprees, mattresses, appliance packages, big screen TVs, and so much more. Plus, this Saturday, play for up to $1,000 off your purchase. Everyone who makes a purchase is a winner. The price is always right at the Brick. The Brick, saving you more. Some conditions apply. See in store for details.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I am a used RV salesman. But just because I love being a used RV salesman doesn't mean you would like doing my job all day long.
If you're selling your RV privately, that means that you have to be an RV salesman too.
That's right, Bob. And there's a lot of work involved. You have to find the customers, be ready to show it at a time and place that's convenient for the other guy. All the stuff you take for granted when you come to No Bull.
There's not a lot of glamour in being a used RV salesman, Rick.
I don't do it for the glamour, Bob. I love helping people enjoy the great outdoors on their terms. It's my life's work, but it doesn't have to be yours. When you sell your quality used RV with us, we take care of everything. Cleaning, repairs, commercials like this one to bring people in, and besides, I like being a used RV salesman a lot more than you do.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Man. Yep. Yikes. Not really good. I stammer a lot too. Say something, Mackenzie.
I don't know if I do speak very clearly.
Read a page from that 50 Shades of Grey novel you're carrying around everywhere.
That's insane. Whoa. I can't believe you just
That was a good one. That was a good one, wasn't it?
Just because I'm a female, I read 50 Shades of Grey? Is that what you're insinuating right now?
I didn't have an insinuation, but that was a good one. That was. I can't watch Handmaid's Tale. I can't get into it. But I do see there's a new spin-off show with Chase Infinity in it. So maybe I'll get into that. You got to admit, though, that timing was perfect. That one was teed up. Oh, I sent that one 500 feet. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about my career trajectory. So if this is it, guys, let me leave you off on something positive. Not if I want a job with Hockey Canada. So there's another one that just went 500 feet.
That was good.
All right. Enough, because it's March Madness time. The bracket comes out once a year, and the bracket has come out. So I want to kind of do a quick reaction to it. And please, everyone, feel free to jump in. If there are any takes you want to get off, any points you have, anything I miss, any questions, things like that. The East region. We're looking at the region of death here, man. Duke, UConn, Michigan State, Kansas, St. John's. Those are the top 5 seeds. 16 Final Four appearances between those 6 coaches, 7 national championships. Like, I think Duke is the best team in college basketball heading into this tournament. They were the number 1 overall seed. They were the number 1 overall seed for a reason. But you look at like a potential second round matchup versus Ohio State or TCU. Like, I don't think those teams can beat Duke, but both of those teams can push Duke. Kansas, as the 4 seed, has one of the best players in the country, and when they're on, they can play with and they can beat anybody in the country. UConn, 2 national championships. They won back-to-back national championships 3 years ago and 2 years ago. Like, they are an incredible team. Michigan State with Tom Izzo, they were a top 5 team earlier this year. Then St. John's, like I said, with Rick Pitino, crazy defensive identity. They won the Big East this year. It is a loaded team with talent. Now, everyone likes to, pick an upset. If you're looking for an upset in this round, I like South Florida as the 11 over Louisville, the 6th seed. I also don't hate UCLA as a 7 seed, potentially beating UConn in a second round matchup and getting to the Sweet 16. What's funny about Louisville is 15 of the 18 teams have all had certain metrics that they've had at points in the season. Like, all the winning teams have had these metrics, and of the teams that have them this season, Louisville is actually one of them, and they come in as a 6 seed. I don't think Louisville can win the tournament, especially coming out of this region, but it is kind of an interesting thing to keep an eye on. I do like them to lose that South Florida matchup, though. Going over to the West, this one is probably going to be pretty chalk between Arizona and Purdue for who gets to the Final Four. Like, Purdue, the thing about Purdue, John Rothstein made this point, is that they are a veteran-laden group that has been together for a while. They've done everything. They've been to the final. They've been to championship games. They just haven't won the national championship. They were the number 1 preseason team coming into this year. They just ended up winning the Big Ten championship this past weekend against Michigan. They're coming in as a number 2 seed. But what I really like about them is, and the point John Rothstein made that I was working around to, is that sometimes when you have these veteran-laden groups that have been together for a long time, they get a little bored and they get a little complacent. And I think that played into some of their losses this season, because now they're finally looking like the team we thought they were going to be, beating Michigan to win that Big Ten championship. Arizona's a tough out. They're a very complete team. They've probably been the most consistent team all year in college basketball. So if that is the Elite Eight matchup, it's going to be really tough. High Point is the 12 seed in this region. I just got to inhale for a sec. Excuse me. My nose is really plugged. High Point is the 12 seed in this region. Yeah, but we have fun here. I really wanted to pick High Point going into the tournament. I was like, they're a 30-win team. They were a little higher ranked than the Miami of Ohio team I talk about a lot in Ken Palm. I was like, I'm going to pick High Point no matter what. And then they get Wisconsin as their matchup. And the thing about Wisconsin is, like, Wisconsin plays the exact same game they do, but they just have more talent. Like they're a big, you know what I mean? Like they're a Power 4 school. They're a Big 10 school. They beat Michigan earlier this year when they were on a bit of a hot streak. Like I really like what High Point does. They aren't the best defensive team in the world, but they can run and gun a little bit. They play fast offensively. They shoot the ball pretty decently from 3. But Wisconsin just does all those things a little bit better, and they do it with more talent. So I really wanted to pick High Point. Josh has a question.
Doesn't Wisconsin live and die by the 3?
Yeah, they shoot. Yes, they do. Because they shoot about 42% from 3. They're a great High Point shooting team. High Point has this guy. I forget his name, but he's taken 4 2-pointers all year and like 300 3-pointers.
That's wild.
Yeah, he's crazy.
So here's my question though. What isn't the knock on Wisconsin that like they rely on it so much that when they do hit that that they they turn into the Rockets from 2017.
Yeah.
Like they've lost to teams that they shouldn't be losing to, but they beat a bunch of teams that they should.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what Wisconsin's thing is. And that's one of the reasons I like them to probably lose to Arkansas and almost surely lose to Arizona if they get to the Sweet 16. But the reason I think they can still beat High Point is because when Wisconsin, like Josh just mentioned, when they have to settle things down and play within a system, they don't do it well. But I think their talent will overcome the gap that exists between them and High Point if the game doesn't go according to High Point's plan. Because the thing is, if the game goes according to both teams' plan, Wisconsin's just going to do what High Point does better. If it doesn't going according to plan, Wisconsin just has more talent than High Point that they'll be able to make up for. So that's why, I would have loved to have picked them, but I don't know if I can do it against Wisconsin. BYU, they have one of the best players in the country in AJ DeBonsa. I don't know if they win that. They're going to play the winner of the Texas-NC State match. I don't know how BYU is going to look in that game, but they have one of the most dynamic players in the country, and AJ DeBonsa is going to be a top 3 pick. He's going to be fun to watch while he lasts. I just don't know how long that'll be. Gonzaga is in this region. 30-win team this year. Did win their conference, but lost to same areas at one point. I don't know. I don't like them to beat Purdue. Do I like them to beat Kennesaw State, BYU, or Texas, NC State? Yeah, I probably do. I don't like them to get past the Sweet 16. I'll speed these ones up in the South and Midwest. The South is interesting. Kind of the region of destiny. Florida's trying to go back-to-back. They're the number 1 seed. Florida, when they play their game, can beat anyone in the country. When they have an off night, they look like they couldn't even beat a Division II team. Like they shoot the ball so poorly when they're off. They're going to have to rematch Vandy. Probably. It could be Nebraska. They're probably going to have to rematch Vandy in the Sweet 16. That was a team that ran them out of the gym in the SEC tournament. It'll be tough for Vandy to beat them twice, but it's something to keep their eye on. I actually like Houston to get out of this region. Because Houston has such a defensive identity. Like I said, kind of team of destiny vibes. Maybe it's finally Kelvin Sampson's time. And that Elite 8 matchup could be a rematch of last year's national championship. And then finally, the Midwest bracket. Michigan, the number 1 seed there. I think they're a really good, really complete team. St. Louis is here as a 9 seed. I honestly wasn't sure St. Louis was going to make the tournament. If they did, I thought it was going to be an 11 or 12 seed, probably 11 seed the way it works out. They end up getting in as a 9 seed, so they were safely in. I thought that was a little bit surprising. They lost to George Mason by 30 points like 2 weeks ago. Akron as an upset pick. They're the 12 seed in this region. I like Akron as an upset pick over Texas Tech. They're really beat up. No JT Toppin. And then Iowa State. I think Iowa State, Michigan could be an all-time Elite 8 matchup. But keep your eye on the 3 seed, 29-win Virginia as well. And Miami of Ohio is going to be out of this region if they beat SMU. Yeah. Any questions? Any follow-up questions? Because we'll, dive into it more as well on Thursday, which is the Declan CAA day. Oh yeah.
But is there a team that you just have a feeling about that maybe is outside of the Dukes of the world?
Yeah.
That maybe they're a good matchup for a team, or you can see them getting on.
Great question, and I actually do. Akron. So Akron, they're the 12 seed. 12-5 is a popular pick. It's become 11-6 in the last 10 years or so. But they're going to play a Texas Tech team without JT Toppin, who's their best player. They're also injured kind of across the team. I think 3 starters are out, including JT. I like Akron to win that 12-5. Then how about this? If they play Alabama in the second round, today Alabama's second leading scorer, Aiden Holloway, was arrested for a felony drug charge. 4 days out of the tournament starting, he's not going to be with the team, presumably not going to be with the team. Akron could be that double-digit 12 seed you see in the Sweet 16. They won the MAC this year. That was where that Miami of Ohio team was in. I like Akron. I don't like them against Michigan in the Sweet 16, but I like them to win a couple games.
Okay, this might
Mackenzie has a
be
question.
similar to Lowetide's question, but who do you like as a Cinderella story? Kind of like Princeton.
Yeah.
That's the most recent one that I can think of right now.
That's a good one. It's so, like, honestly, some of these top seeds are so heavy. Kennesaw State, I think Josh said, that's actually not a terrible one just because I like Gonzaga the least of all the top 3 seeds. Penn, they just won the Ivy League. That's always a dangerous team. Illinois is a little bit vulnerable. If I had to pick one, I know I just said keep my eye on Virginia, but the way Wright State as a 14 seed shoots the ball, that could be a bit of a bracket buster. Yeah.
Watching the tournament, and it'll be, and it's 16-9 for Oral Roberts on the first day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the hell is Oral Roberts? I knew who Oral Roberts was, but why do they have a university that plays basketball this well? Is there an outlier team like Bowling Green or something that's been around since the 1820s that finally has a basketball program?
Well, I'll tell you this. So Queen's University of Charlotte, North Carolina, or Queen's University of North Carolina or something, they have like 1,600 students. Wow. They're in the tournament as a 15 seed. They're playing Purdue. Probably not going to go well for them. But like Harry Inley is a high school here in the city, has like 4,000 kids. You know what I mean? They have 1,600 as a university. So that's a pretty cool one. Tennessee State is another. They haven't made the tournament since 94. And Idaho, I don't think has made it since 1990. So those are two dialing it back a little bit.
Love it. Yeah. I love that stuff. To me, it's like the communities. Like I didn't get to see it because I was busy, but I love watching when they make the announcement and they've got like 73 chairs in the gym and people go completely nuts when they're announced as part of the tournament. I love that stuff.
It's going to be so much fun.
So
it's going to be. Oh, and here's actually one last thing to leave people off on.
Okay.
People think they have to fill out their brackets now. You don't have to fill them out until Wednesday night when the first 4 games are all completed.
Okay.
So you can just hold it. You don't have to fill them out today.
I'm not doing brackets. I'm too old. I'm just sick of doing things that I thought I had to do when I was 20.
You're not going to do the Fantasy Frenzy bracket?
No, I'm old. I need pepper and I go home. So anyway, if you don't know it and people are making you do the brackets, just go to pick places you think you might want to visit. And you'll have as good a chance as the people who think they know what the hell they're talking about.
You know what the worst thing is? I hate that that's good advice.
I know. I used to do it for years. I'm like, oh, maybe I'd like to go there. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Jason Krueger on the way. Please enjoy your day.
Brought to you with Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly, 780-265-0165. World Cup of Hockey will be coming to Edmonton in 2028, as well as Prague and Calgary, those two hosting round-robin games, as well as one elimination game, each the semifinals and finals in Edmonton. Edmonton Oilers news, Leon Draisaitl not at practice today after leaving last night's game with an injury. And in the NFL, the New York Jets trading Justin Fields to the Chiefs for a 7th-round pick, and Darius Slay announcing his retirement after 13 seasons in the NFL. NHL schedule, 5 games tonight: Calgary, Detroit, Boston, New Jersey, and the LA Kings and New York Rangers getting the action going at 5. Utah and Dallas at 6, and Pittsburgh, Colorado, the late game at 7:30. NBA gets going at 5 with the Orlando Magic taking on the Atlanta Hawks and Golden State taking on the Washington Wizards. Late game tonight in the league, we'll see San Antonio and LA. Also on the dock, we will see the LA Lakers led by Luka Doncic and the Houston Rockets led by Tari Eason. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR. It's a Stingray